So it's been a long time coming, but happy September, everybody, and welcome back to the Stoop Tea.
Welcome back.
So I'm your co-host, Rosa Enid.
I am your other co-host, Liz Santana.
It's been a while. It's been a while.
It has.
Been super busy with work. Has it been a month and a half or 2 months? However long, I feel like this show that I was on took years. Like things that happened like 3 weeks ago to me feel like they were 2 months ago. I try to have a life work balance, and I've come to realize as I get older that that's not a thing. Having a work-life balance or having balance in your life just doesn't
It's
work. It's
unrealistic.
unrealistic. Like something is bound to, something is bound to suffer in your life. So if you focus on work 100%, your personal life is going to suffer, or your relationship's going to suffer, or some things you just can't do it all. When I work a lot, most of the things that suffer are my social life, my family life.
Um,
You have a new child now. You have a new puppy that
yes,
you
I do. So I have a new first of all, finish what you were saying, girl.
No,
I
I
want to
know.
catch up on you
No, I want to catch up on
before
you
we move
too.
to me.
I know we
I
both
know, I know.
haven't spoken in so long, and I feel bad. It's weird, but yeah, it's just been a busy summer mostly. It's all been work. Um, so I have really nothing else to say. I was just working a lot. I know my type of job is not normal. Like the amount of hours that I devote to working and stuff, I know it's not normal at all. My mom came to visit me because I'm
How
working
was that, by
remote.
the way?
It was good. I'm working remote, so I'm like, yeah, you could come visit me because I'm home. A lot of times I'm not. A lot of times I'm on set. Even working remote, the job still took a lot from me. So anyway, I had my mom. She came for like 3 weeks, and I felt so bad because I barely spent time with her. I would try, like, I'll try to have breakfast with her, make it a point to have breakfast with her,
Right.
or and hang out with her whenever I could. Whenever my boyfriend and I had off at the same time, we would take her out to dinner or just take her out around the town just so I could spend some time with her. So during that time, of course, like it's either I'm working or I'm paying attention to my mom. So it was like that was my life for 3 weeks. So in those 3 weeks, obviously I didn't work out. I didn't take care of myself as I normally would because those were the only two things I had time to focus on.
Right, right.
It's really hard. Like we only get 24 hours in a day, and a lot of the times I work for 18 out of those 24 hours. So it really doesn't leave much room for me to do much else or to focus on anything else. As a woman, you really try to do so many things
But
in
do you
one
feel
day.
like that has been taking a toll on you though? I feel like your face is different. Like, and I don't mean it in a bad way. I mean it like, when someone's like overwhelmed or like stressed out or like,
Hmm.
when somebody has something on their mind, you can see it in their face. And
Yeah.
even though you try to hide it, like you could still see it. You could put on 1,000 pounds of makeup, but it doesn't matter because you could still
Yeah.
see it.
Well, girl, ain't nobody got time for makeup.
Obviously your that I was gonna say obviously your bare face, but you could just tell like it's taking a toll on you.
I think I've managed it a lot better than I have in the past, if that
Hmm.
makes sense. Like, at least I will say this, at least this one, I didn't have to go to set at all. It was all remote, which I'm a control freak, so a lot of times, I
It
would
got hard.
I'm not gonna lie, I do micromanage sometimes because I'm not there.
Right.
So I would be like, the good thing was that I still was home. So at least I was still like I'm working, but I have my dogs surrounding me.
Right.
Like I'm working a lot, but I'm still in my house.
And
So
you were working, but you still were there with your mom. It wasn't like you were in another place. You could still see her.
yeah, it wasn't like I was in another state or I was away from my home. That's
Right.
usually when it's a lot harder and takes more of a toll on me.
Right.
I was still able to try to squeeze in my personal life stuff whenever I could because I was home and I had the chance to do that. I still do love my job and I do love what I do because
Right.
I and it happened to me numerous times where I
Well,
would
are
be
you going
working.
back and are you falling in love with what you do again? Or
Oh, it was a little
is because
better.
okay,
The COVID thing's still a thing. Like COVID's just made I've said this before, but the whole pandemic and COVID has added layers to my job that are just so frustrating and annoying and add
right.
more time.
But I know that at some point you had expressed that you were just like really frustrated with work, like you were even
Yeah.
considering like doing a career change because you were
Yeah.
frustrated, you know. And I know that
Yeah.
you had in that moment it kind of felt like you had fallen out of love with your job.
Yeah.
And I
And
know
I
that coming from you, it's a little rough on the ears because it's like wow, this is a person like, and I know I speak because I know you personally, you know what I mean? So um coming from a person that has dedicated like really like you are one of the only, actually you are the only person that I know that pursued what you actually studied, because you know how many people, countless amount of people study one thing and then just end up doing something completely different. Hence I'm one of those. But it was when you had said that, like I said, it was rough on the ears because it was like wow, like a lot of the times like when I speak about you to people, it's more like this is that one friend that she set out to do something and she did it and she got her dream job doing what she loves. So it's nice to hear now that you're falling back in love, or that you're back in love with what you did.
it'll be like, let's say like 10 p.m. and I've
Mm,
been working since like, let's say I woke up at 6 or 7 and I've been working ever since. I'm like, how the heck? Because to me, time flies too.
right,
When
it does,
like,
it does.
so time
It-
flies, and I'm like, how do I do this for so many hours? And yeah, I get tired, but it's like I wake up the next morning and I do it all over again for the next
and you
18
do you
hours.
want to do you find yourself wanting to get up and do it, like like
Yeah,
do
I
you look
mean,
forward to
I
it?
feel like when you're in production, you're just in it. Like you just have to, you don't have a moment to hesitate or not want to wake up in the morning. You just have
Or
to.
like to get bored of it or
Yeah,
whatever.
you just have to get through it.
Right.
And this one that I just did, I really enjoyed it. I think it was a good one. I feel like I've grown up a lot and I've learned a lot about myself. I don't know if it's because I'm getting older or what, but I did see myself grow as a manager. I know I do micromanage sometimes, but I've actually gotten better at not being so micromanagey. Like I've learned to let go and I've learned to trust my team to get
Right.
the job done because there's been
Right.
times
Right.
where I feel like people are slacking or not doing their job and I feel like I pick up on the slack. And with this one, I think I've had a really good team that I've been able to rely on that has allowed me to like let
Trust
go of,
in them and let
yeah,
go.
and let go of some of the micro stuff so I can focus more on the macro. And I think that one thing I have that I think benefits me, I always put myself in my coordinator shoes or in my production assistant
Right.
shoes. Like I always
Right.
remember how it was for me when I was in their shoes. I think as
Well, that's cool that you can do that.
yeah, I think I've seen people as you grow, there's a lot of people, especially in my industry, that lose touch with reality.
Right.
Like there it just happens. Like as you grow and you get older, well, as you move up the ladder, you start seeing how people lose their sense of reality and how things actually work in the real world and they lose compassion for a human being or the person. And I always think about that, like putting myself in their shoes. Because there's times where they're like, oh yeah, a production assistant
And
can just
then
handle that. They can just do that. And
right.
I'm like, I've been there where I've been the production assistant where let's say if it's just even shopping or going on 20 runs to 20 different stores, like I'm not gonna do that. Like I try to look ahead and prevent like, I can already kinda see what's gonna go wrong or how do I let's
And
say, like
you can project what will go wrong, when it'll go wrong, or how it'll go
yeah, or
wrong.
the smarter
And
way
you
to do
can
it or the easier
right.
way to do it, or how do I like, 'cause sometimes people will be like, "Oh, the production assistant can do it," and I'm like, "No, it's the production assistant's lunchtime, and they have to take their break." Like, I'm not gonna. I don't
Right.
know. I'm just trying to think of an example that'll make sense, but there's times where people just lose touch or forget how it used to be for them to be in that position, and
Right.
they'll try to throw things at people. Or for example, I think I over explain tasks
Mhm.
and things because I know that what I'm thinking or how I understand something is not going to be how that person understands it. Like I work with different types of people from all over the world. Especially in
Right.
this show, I've had to hire every time we shoot in a new city, I have to hire a whole new crew for each city because we work with locals. So I've dealt with different personalities and different people, and I think that that's
Right.
helped me kind of with managing different types of people. I don't know if that makes
Right.
sense, but
No, no, no,
but
it does make sense because you have to know how to deal with different types. Like it's like um I've been told prior to, like, in an office setting, it's you have to learn people's personalities. You have to understand that you're going to be working with different personalities.
I may over explain things or I may like feel like I micromanage a little, but I've always
Right.
had everybody that I've worked with at the end of the shoot or whatever, they always thank me for, thank you for doing that, or thank you for reminding me something as simple as do your time card. Like um
Right, right.
people appreciate those small things, or
Gestures or right, right. They do. They do.
yeah, and I've
Oh,
had so many people tell me like you're so nice. Thank you so much, because they've dealt with people in this industry or people that don't treat them right. Like, and I know what they're
right.
talking about because I've been in those shoes where you've been in positions with people that are so nasty, so rude for no reason.
Or so like so full of themselves basically because I mean you can become jaded
Yeah.
unfortunately.
There's a lot of people that I know that I've dealt with that are just so sour or angry or hate their lives. Like honestly, people that shouldn't be working in the industry, because if you're gonna hate your life that much or treat people like that, just leave. You need a sabbatical. You need to
Right,
have a
right, right.
vacation.
Agreed.
We're here to do a job and we're here to help each
Right.
other get that job done. So that's how I see things. And I've gotten so many compliments from people from all levels. And I think that's one of the things that I take really good pride in. And I think that's what
Right.
I loved about this show is that everybody that I hired, I actually really, really liked. There was not one person that I was like, I can't stand that person. Everybody on this show was someone I really liked, and I think that that made the whole experience very pleasant. And I'm not trying to sound conceited or anything, but I think that does come from me, from how you are at the top is and how you treat your employees is how the work
It
flow
trickles down,
goes.
of course, 100%.
Yeah.
100%. And that's what I was trying to say before. Like, when you're working with people, you have to learn how to deal with people. You have to learn that everybody has different personalities. Like, you can have one that's very serious, as opposed to like having another one that's a jokester, as opposed to having another one that's young, as opposed to having an older one, as opposed to having someone with anxiety. Everybody's it's is different.
Nowadays too, it's like there's already so much going on in the world with people's mindset. Like the last thing you need is to go to work and have a shitty day.
That's something so normal is not even funny. Like
But it
it is
shouldn't
never,
be
what's
okay.
crazy?
It
It's
shouldn't be
never
normal.
talked about though. It's never talked about. Like you know, people you see jokes on online with like memes and stuff like, oh, thank the TGIF or I need a glass of wine. I've had a long week or you know, it's never talked about how being mistreated, like everything that people have to deal with at work. And I could tell you, like, I know countless numbers of people that literally get mentally and physically ill because of everything that they have to deal with at work. Because they have to deal with like, and I don't want to say micromanage because I feel like you can micromanage and still be compassionate and still be understanding. Like I've actually physically seen and witnessed myself how owners or managers or supervisors or bosses can completely belittle a person and like really just tear up their mental health. And it's like that kind of work sucks because who the heck wants to go to a job where they constantly on a day-to-day basis where they spend most of their time and most of their like awoken hours are spent with these people. Like, who wants to be in a place where they're mistreated, belittled, talked down to, there's, their self-esteem gets shot, all that stuff. Who wants that? And I feel like it happens so frequent and so often. Saddest part is that the people that do it are the people that you absolutely expect more from.
I don't think I've personally been treated bad by people. Like I've had other production assistants or coordinators tell me how awful some people, some production managers or other coordinators have been to them.
Right.
And when I think about it, I think I've been very blessed that in this industry, like I've seen nasty people, but they're never anyone that I'm in direct um
Contact with.
that they're not my direct boss.
Oh,
Yeah. I
okay,
think
great, great. Okay.
they've always been like my boss's boss or like someone else that I don't have to deal with. So like I've seen the nastiness, but I've been lucky
To
to
not have to
not
experience it
experience.
firsthand.
Yeah, yeah.
Great. Okay,
Um
okay.
and I think and because of that I've seen how how it's helpful when you have an actually like I've had really great bosses and I've had some other ones that are not so great, but I think that's helped me see or like or just like the bosses that have been really kind to me and like have been good workers, they're the reason that I'm like that they're the reason I keep doing what I do. Because if I had someone that was nasty all the time or treating me like I would really quit. Like why am I gonna be here? Like why I don't
You know,
deserve to be
some
treated that way. You
right,
know?
but a lot of people don't even feel like, so the thing is, like, a lot of that takes a lot of internal strength to do something like that, to make such a big decision, because it's easier said than done. A lot of people are like, oh, well, I wouldn't work for them, or I wouldn't do that. You never know what that person, so it really depends on the person and their situation, and where their mental space is at, because some people feel like they have to deal with that, or they have no choice, as opposed to being like, you know what, F that, I'm gonna leave.
There's always a
And
choice. Like if
right.
there's
Well, of course there's always a choice, but I'm just saying,
But
like,
what I'm trying to
there's
say is like
people.
people forget like there's such a thing as HR departments that you can go to if you're being treated like at
Not in
work.
every job though. Like, that's the thing. Realistically speaking, not in every job. And I don't
Well,
mean
and
it
I
in like,
know that because my industry depends on if you're working for a production company or you're working for the network,
right.
et cetera. The levels of HR and et cetera change. But still I feel
Well, what
like
do you do when there's, like, let's say for example, there's, because I could tell you from personal experience, like, I was in an office setting where I worked for a bagel manufacturer, and I worked with the direct bosses. There was no in between. I was just workers and boss. That's it. The
I've been in
actual
those
owners.
companies.
And
Yeah.
and let me tell you, like, there is no HR that you can run to. There is no nothing that you could. And when you have bills to pay, and when you have, things to get done, the first thought in your mind isn't, oh, well, you know what, F this, I should leave, let me quit, because I shouldn't have to do with it. The first thought in your mind is, well, if I quit, then how am I going to pay my bills? Like, am I
No,
going to
the
be able to
first
find a
thought should
job
be
that's going to
I'm gonna
pay me?
send my resume out because you just reminded me I kind of was there was a job I had like back in the day when I was an assistant and
Mm,
I did have a boss that I dealt it was like she was the top, the boss was the top.
mhm.
She was nice to me, but I know she was not as nice to some people, like when she would flip
Right,
out.
right.
Um, and I just, when you don't want to be in that environment, what did I do? I started sending out my resume to other
No,
shows and other
obviously, like,
things.
I mean, obviously, like, the initial move is to, like, start looking. That's a given, but I'm saying, like, there are some people that don't have that capacity, that mental capacity, or that, like, they don't think like, oh, you know what, I'm better than this, I can get out. Some people just settle where they are and deal with what they with being mistreated and being talked down to and being belittled and being humiliated, because they feel like they have no choice.
That's really a generation thing, to be honest. Like, I think that generations of our parents and like our generation even, we have that mentality of we can't escape. The kids nowadays, like
Right.
coordinators, even productions, if they don't like or they don't love the show 100% or whatever, they're really easy to just go on to the next one.
Which is awesome, like, the fact that nowadays people understand and know that they could just be like, you know what, well, I don't have to tolerate this, I'm out. within the masses, there's still people out there like that feel like they don't have that choice. They don't. I could Okay. So, and the reason why I'm so strong on this point is because, so in my office setting, there's a lot of people, actually 95% of the people that work there, um they've all been there for 10 to 15 plus years, and they're working towards their pension. They've been there already. They've dedicated so much of their time, and they've stayed in the same position for a very long time. When I ask them, what, a lot of the times, like, it's like coffee break talk. They're like, I'm like, they're like, oh, I'm so tired. I'm over this place, or blah blah blah. And you're like, well, why'd you stay so long? Or when you get into those conversations, like coworkers get into, like, and they tell me, they're like, oh, you're young, because I'm actually the youngest person there. They're like, you're young, go back to school, don't stay here, get a degree, get out of here, move to a place where you can move up. Because there's really, like, where I work, it's stagnant. It's stagnant. Like, you sit and you get a position, and you could possibly stay in that position for years and years on end, maybe until you retire. I mean, they do increase your salary every year or whatever, or whenever they can, but um you stay in the same position. And it's like, these people that I know, that I work with personally, they're like, had I known when I was younger, I should have been smarter, I should have made better decisions. These people feel like, and when I ask them, why didn't you go then, and why don't you leave now? They're like, first of all, then I was working towards my pension, and there was a lot more to offer that they offered. And I don't leave now because I'm too old, and because I'm working for my pension so that I could retire in a few years. And that's actually 95% of my coworkers. Literally, no joke. And I'm talking about people that are ready to retire within the next 5 to 7 years. You know what I'm saying? So, like, that's why I'm like, my argument is so hard, because I feel like those kind of people, although they're in that, you're right. It's like, for that, they're included in our parents' generation. You're looking to retire soon. Like, you're a few ways from a few years from retirement. Why get up and leave now? It's pointless.
Think about it, in those 5 years, so many things can happen. With our parents, a lot of the big things is like, oh, the pension, the retirement plan, the 401k, whatever. Those things are important to some people, like I know, like, that's important, having the pension, having the benefits, having this and that. But those are things that they're not always guaranteed. It's not them saving up their own money. That money or the pension or whatever is not in their control. It's in someone else's control. Can you imagine being that person that you worked your whole life for that, and then you find out, oh no, we don't have that anymore. It doesn't exist.
You do pay taxes, and you pay, so you will see
Yeah.
Social Security. Um,
Yeah, but I've seen how my parents, like, what they're getting now for Social Security, you can't live off of that, honestly.
with the new generation coming up, with like our generation, we have that option to be like, what, I don't have to deal with this. I can go back to school. There's 1,000 things that I can do, that I can do.
Yeah.
And I'm grateful for that, because I mean, thank God that we can think like that. We're allowed that freedom to think like that. However, like you said, it's like a generational thing, where our parents felt that if they got a job that provided all the stuff, they kind of like had to stay there, because they weren't going to have that anywhere else.
Yeah.
And I do feel like that still does exist currently nowadays, because a lot of young people also aren't educated on what's out there. They're not educated. A lot of people, they've heard of pensions, they kind of know they have an idea, but they don't know how they work. And a lot of people also don't know how 401ks work. They don't know how Social Security works. So I feel like a lot of young people, you have your group where they do understand, and they're working towards something like that. But then you also have a group where they're just like, whatever, I'm good. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. But it's
they're like,
But they seem like, for me at least, I know, like, you can't count on just your Social Security. You can't just count on that stuff to retire. Like, if you really should save on your own, because that's like the only money that's really guaranteed. The other stuff's
right,
not
right,
guaranteed. Like, it could go away. You have no control over that. The only
right.
thing you have control of is the money that you can save on your own. So I think that for some people, especially younger generations. Like we've seen that. We've seen our grandparents or we've seen our parents go through it, how they've worked for 20 years or however long. And then when you're older and you're ready to retire, you have your retirement, but things are so high now that what you're getting
It's not
monthly
enough.
is not enough to cover for your
Right.
expenses and what
Right.
you're, so that's why so many older people, you see a lot of older people go back to work or working in stores or pharmacy or whatever because they can't afford to live off their retirement alone. You
Right.
know,
Right.
there's that happens a lot. And I think that that's why the younger generations are like, fuck it, I'm just gonna try to do a job that makes more money. And what happens if I don't, if I'm unhappy, I'm gonna quit and I'm gonna get another job. There's people that are there for years, and then there's new people that are coming in that are gonna make more than what those people are making because
Oh yeah.
there's pay raises and stuff, or like hiring bonuses and etc. So people right now are just trying to sway or do what's convenient for them. Younger people at least. Like a lot of young people I've noticed too, they have no shame in asking for a raise.
If you feel like your work is worth it, then there should be absolutely no reason why you should feel ashamed of asking for a raise. I feel like that's the reason why a lot of young people nowadays get to where they are or get to making money or like, get to where they want to be and need to be because closed mouths don't get fed.
Yeah,
And
they have no shame of saying, "Hey, I think I'm worth this. Are you going to give it to
right.
me? Yes or no?" And if the person says no, they're going to go find it somewhere else.
There's only really three young people at our job. It was me, my work wife, and another person. And when she saw that, first of all, she made an attempt to move from where she was and kind of like, you can call it move up or I don't know. Anyway, she made an attempt, and when she saw that that wasn't happening, she was like, you know what? No, I'm not. I can't. She's like, I'm mama four. Like, I cannot be stagnant. I need to look for something more. And she did. And she got something 1,000 times better, and they pay her way more than what she was making, and it's a better position. And it's something that she loves, something that she was looking for, which is amazing. And I like many blessings to her. But it was because she didn't settle. Like she was
Hmm.
like, you know what, you're not gonna give me what I need. All right, time to move on. And she stood and she did it. She did what she had to do, and she was out. And I tell you because I'm one of the ones that I stay quiet sometimes, and
Yeah.
I don't say anything, and I don't, and I just, and I know that my work is worth more, and I know that I can get more, and I know that I deserve more, but I just don't. I stay quiet because I'm the type of person that I can't deal with the 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 comebacks because I'm the type of
You don't
person.
want to deal with confrontation.
No, I
Yeah.
don't. In a work environment, no.
In the past, I felt like, oh, I'm so grateful to be doing this job. I'm so grateful to be here. And I think that's the mindset that a lot of people have. But no, your employer should be grateful to have you, especially if you're a really good employee. Because how many times have you had employees and you're the one golden star? So if you're the one golden star, then you need to be compensated like a golden star. I've seen a lot because I hire a lot of people. And there's times where people want more money than what I have in budget for. So I have to go and take my happy ass to my boss and say, hey, this person wants this much. Um, can you approve this? And, a lot of times what happens, if I can find somebody else that can do it for less, I will. But if I can't, we're kind of stuck like this is the one person that we really need that's qualified to do this. And we cave in sometimes and have to give them what they want. So people sometimes
Right.
forget that they have that power of negotiating. And I've had people that tell me, I usually do this, but I can meet you halfway. Like, what can we do? You
Right.
know?
And I'm that type of person. I'd be like, look, listen, I asked for this, but you know what? I'll meet you halfway. Like I'm that person. But the thing is also like the downfall on that is so the reason why I don't open my mouth or I'm afraid to open my mouth is because I'm more afraid of my reaction than I am of the other person's. Because I'm afraid of how the other person's reaction will trigger me. And I know that at some time, so unfortunately, I'm hitting 30 and I still have not been able to gauge or gain control of my responses sometimes. And in a work setting, I literally can, I could, I've I've actually surprised myself on how much I can control myself. Because the thing is that if I go into my boss's office and I say, "Look, I feel like I deserve more," and I get a response that I'm not pleased with, or I get a response that I really just really don't like or don't expect, I don't know how me as a person, how I would handle that. I don't know, and I'm more afraid of losing my temper or losing my cool, because I'm the type of person that I bottle things in. And unfortunately, that is not a healthy way of dealing with things at all. And I know that. That's actually that's one of my downfalls. And when I do open my mouth, it's because the glass is full. If it's not a good response, that glass is going to tip over. And that's why I tend to be the one that won't open her mouth or won't ask for more, because I bottle so much that by the time I open my mouth too late. It's just, and that's something that I need to work on as a person. It doesn't mean that that's not my employer's fault. That's my fault.
But you're
I
also
need to do
stopping
better.
yourself because you don't
Right,
know if
right,
that employer is going to say, you know what, I've been seeing you over the years. I think you deserve the raise. Like, why? If you're scared of your reaction, why don't you write an email instead of having a face-to-face confrontation? That's something you can do in writing.
right,
And yeah,
right,
the boss might say, let's talk about it in person, but you have to mentally prepare yourself for that. Maybe try to have that conversation acted out with a friend, or really write down everything that you're feeling, or what you would say, because you never know, at the end of the day you might come out winning on top. And the worst thing that anybody can tell you is no, but you've asked.
right.
That's the
Well, not it.
worst answer. The worst answer is going to be no. Then
Right,
at least you tried. But if you don't try, you're going to be wondering about it the whole time. If they say no, then you know where you stand with that company, you know where you stand with the people, you know where you stand,
right.
and then from there you make a decision of what's next now, because of you got the answer, but at least you asked. We'll
I
work,
need,
we'll work on it together. We'll work.
yes, I'm gonna take your advice, but it's just, I know it's a slow process. It's
Yeah.
not gonna be something that I'll be able to do from like night today or whatever, but
And it's
you're right. You're
fine, but
100%
but you
right.
deserve better. And if you think that you're not getting compensated for what you deserve, you should really ask for that raise, especially nowadays. Things are a
Yes.
lot more expensive now than they were 6 months
Heck
ago,
yeah.
2 months
Heck
ago.
yeah.
Like
Girl, don't even
everything,
get me started.
yeah, everything's
Don't
just more
even get me
expensive.
started.
So if you think that you deserve that raise, or that you deserve to be making more, then you should ask for it. Stay tuned for next time. We'll catch up on Liz, and
Yes.
we'll finish the conversations. But let us know in the comments what you think about what we just talked about.
Listen, tell us if you miss us. Also check out our YouTube channel. Go ahead, Rosa.
Yeah, check out our YouTube channel. It's the Stoop Tea. Our podcast is
Just
on
to
all
tea.
the handles. It's also the Stoop Tea. Same thing with Instagram. It's the Stoop Tea.
Check
So
us out.
check us out, send us messages, let us know what topics you guys want to hear. If there's something on your chest, let it out, vent to us. You can also send us an email at askus@stooptea.com. That's ask@stoopta.com. We really appreciate you all. We've missed you. The fall's coming. This is the season.
This is Rosa's season,
This is
and if you
my
guys have not
season.
seen her stuff, check it. Actually, that's my season too, but I'm a little behind. Please ignore it. Like, I'm turning 30 this year, dirty 30, and I'm trying to turn up. So that is where my focus is right now. I'm trying to celebrate my 30s.
Well, celebrate, girl, celebrate. That's I mean, we gotta
Woo.
celebrate something in this life. Can't all be
Right?
bad. So
No, no.
thank you guys again for listening. We appreciate you all, and we hope you guys have a great week. Bye.
Bye.